Welcome to Wrasslin Raw!
All right, you're listening to Wrasslin Raw, the podcast that takes you back to when Raw became war and Attitude ruled. Thank you for joining us. You're here with Ryan Arico.
Since when? Since when? That's not right.
Joe Giammatteo.
Right on that gremlin or whatever the hell it is.
Both with JR quotes tonight.
I am the one and only Jason Bartlett, and we're going to examine WWE history 1 year at a time. That's right, folks. This is a year in review episode, and we are going to take a look back at 1998. What do you think, guys? 1998 was a really weird year for us.
It was for us, but for the WWF, it is basically, we're hitting the peak Attitude Era. 99, it's going to coast through and stay just as good, but weird year for us, but a fantastic year for the WWF.
Yeah, it's been a struggle with all of the content being pulled everywhere and changed and shifted. And speaking of shifting, it was quite a shift for the WWF in 98 because 96 and most of 97 was all about WCW kicking their ass. And they really turned it around here in 1998.
Yes, they did. And I feel like we're going to kind of gloss over a lot of major things that happened because just the way that we review these years and go back and look at them, we only have 2 match of the year candidates, but we have what I would probably consider the most abundant amount of stories in our year that have been more entertaining than all of the previous years combined.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely more story driven.
Yeah, that's one thing that's very clear about 98 is it's about the stories and not so much the wrestling.
I think a big reason for that is obviously because of the stars in the business now, but also losing Bret Hart at the end of 97, losing Shawn Michaels essentially at the beginning of this year, 98. So you're not getting a lot of those technical matches anymore.
Well, and then you have the rise of Stone Cold, but he's fresh off this neck injury, so you got to protect him. So you're not putting him in as many crazy matches either.
Yeah. And I think there's something to all of this because we had years of Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, The Undertaker, these people building up their characters' reputations, stories, history here in the WWF. And a lot of that had to just get scrapped in 98, not just because of the personnel changes, but Joe, like you said, because of the battle with WCW and that push to become more edgy, degenerate, if you will. So,
I mean, force The Undertaker to put on jogging pants.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what a time in the history of civilization, the debut, the dawn. It's like use the 2001 Space Odyssey music in the background, the dawn of Mr. Sweatpants. All right. Well, gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about our match of the year candidates. We're going to be talking about the jobber of the year. We're going to be talking about the Observer Awards of 1998, our highlights and lowlights of 1998, as well as what we're looking forward to in 1999. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Ready.
All right, then. I'm going to take a good old swig of beer to get ready for this. Yingling is on tap for me tonight.
Yingling, a Pennsylvania favorite.
Yes, my go-to. All right, let's get into our match of the year candidates. So these are in chronological order, in the order that we viewed them throughout 1998, and we are going to start out with the May 1998 Over the Edge pay-per-view. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats Dude Love by pinfall in 22 minutes and 28 seconds in a no disqualification Falls Count Anywhere match for the WWF Championship.
Just as a reminder, I was making that as a joke because Pat Patterson said that about both of the Falls Count Anywhere and the no DQ.
So to set the scene for this match, we have to remember that at this time, Stone Cold Steve Austin was still going hard establishing his character and his anti-authority image. Vince McMahon was deep in trying to get rid of Stone Cold. To wit, this was the time of the Grand Conspiracy. And for this match against Dude Love, who was an early version of a corporate challenger, you also had Jerry Briscoe as the timekeeper, Pat Patterson as the quote-unquote bell ringer, and Vince McMahon as the special referee. The no DQ and Falls Count Anywhere stipulations were added during the match, and if Stone Cold lays hands on Vince at all, he forfeits the title immediately. So, to quote Stone Cold, the deck is stacked against the Rattlesnake. And also because I came across it during my fast forwarding to get to this match, this is also the pay-per-view that gave us the Vader big fat piece of shit promo.
Oh, wow.
Can we please just listen to that one more time for 1998?
You're going to have to give me a minute to find it. That's buried deep in the soundboard.
Oh, wow.
Is someone calling in?
Well, we better answer it.
Maybe Vader time's over.
Oh.
Ain't nothing but a big piece of shit. Big fat piece of shit.
Yep.
Poor guy.
That's what happened. I feel like we could do an episode on that by itself. We should do like a Vader retrospective and just use that every 5 minutes.
Just as a teaser, his name will be brought up later.
Yeah. But back to the match. That's unfortunate if that's going where I think it's going, but deserved.
Not quite. Not quite.
Okay.
There's someone more deserving if you think about it.
Okay. But back to this match. This started with a cock-gobbling introduction to Patterson, Briscoe, and Vince. This is where Pat Patterson was compared to Canadian hero Anne Murray.
That's so great.
I didn't like Pat because he kept grabbing my pecker in the locker room.
Oh my God.
You what?
He would grab my pecker.
Just like Anne Murray. Briscoe was called the reincarnation of Jim Thorpe, and they had Briscoe Brothers Body Shop painted on one of the junked cars in the entryway. Dude Love was introduced as the cat that makes the kittens purr. And the crowd was on fire for Austin, especially after a very prolonged introduction that just kept stoking that heat until we finally got to the glass breaking. Just when the crowd couldn't take it anymore, they erupted for it. The Undertaker also randomly showed up for this. That worked the crowd up even more. So when I say this crowd was fucking primed when the bell rang, we're talking a collectively dripping wet panty puddle surrounding the ring. And working that psychology from the beginning, the pauses in the action due to Vince McMahon's loose officiating kept teasing that crowd. My first big pop moment was Austin taking Dude Love's false teeth, stomping on them, and then throwing them into the crowd, while Jerry Lawler said that Dude Love had lost his smile.
Yeah. I also love how Austin crushing his teeth becomes a promo for Mankind later in the year.
Yeah. And I settled in with this. The energy was maintained steadily throughout. After a brief tease at the outside, we went back into the ring where the crowd was hanging on every hit that Austin laid in. The spot where Austin clotheslined Dude Love over the barricade was beautifully worked. JR was yelling, "Neck to concrete! Neck to concrete!" And I have to add here, JR on fire in this match. We eventually worked our way to the entryway and to where those cars were piled up. Austin had a great running clothesline, and as soon as the cars got involved, the intensity level went up. The crowd was just eating it up. Something I missed the first time we watched this was Dude Love doing a sunset flip roll-up pin off of a Mercury Grand Marquis. Dude also missed a flying elbow off of that same Mercury, driving his elbow to the concrete. Austin was busted wide open at this point, contributing to the brutal-looking nature of the match. And visually, that had a hell of an impact. By the time they were back in the ring, Austin looked like a bloody, exhausted, defeated mess. The visuals weren't limited to Austin. Vince McMahon's sadistic glee was on full display throughout all of this. And these things made Austin's rally all the more impactful, reversing a chair shot in the corner, scrambling the dude's brains with that chair, and a great chair shot after, and then finally juking Dude Love into giving Vince McMahon a chair shot, for which the crowd erupted. On the heels of that energy, Dude Love got hit with a stunner. Let's keep in mind then that Vince had been denying pinfalls for Austin throughout this match, and here people started getting involved to try to make this pinfall. First Mike Chioda, who got punched by Pat Patterson and knocked out. Then Patterson and Briscoe, who both got put through announce tables by The Undertaker. And in a glorious climax, Austin hit one more stunner, then raised Vince's unconscious hand to nail that 3 count, with the arena exploding for the victory. In my opinion, one of the best pinfalls we've ever covered. So, guys, I was happy to receive this as a Match of the Year nominee because every aspect of this match came together perfectly. I'm talking about the booking in the lead up to the match within the pay-per-view, the ring psychology, the ring work, the storytelling in the ring. Everything was present in this and without flaw, right up to and including the finish. Joe, what did you have on our first nominee?
Well, it's been a while since we've seen Dude Love. So
yeah.
I forgot how much I love the Dude Love entrance song. It is an absolute banger of a song. And like you said, Bartlett, an amazing intro by Pat Patterson here to stall so that Steve Austin could have an even bigger entrance. And it's not like he needed it because this is in Milwaukee. Is that where this was?
I think so.
It is a hot crowd. Like, that arena is just electric for this match from start to finish. It's very noticeable.
Well, Patterson just had them simmering, that crowd, waiting to explode for Austin.
Compared to a lot of crowds that we've seen on other pay-per-view shows this year, it's just very noticeable. And of course, the other pieces to this is before the corporation. So we have the corporation now in late 98, but this is before that. This is before the Bad Cahoots storyline. So leading up to this match was good, and you have the awkward, unathletic, steroid freak Vince McMahon out there as the referee, and The Undertaker as the enforcer, which has just worked so well the entire match. Just both of them really playing their part to perfection. Mr. McMahon and The Undertaker during this. And as far as Dude Love and Steve Austin, their styles, to me, they don't really mesh that well, but for some reason it works.
Yeah.
Mick Foley is a slower, fat guy, but he knows how to move his body, and he works better than anyone when he's outside the ring. Like, when he's outside of the ring, it's just perfection, everything he does. And really, his cardio is amazing for how fat he is. You don't see any rest holds in his matches.
Yeah.
No.
Ever. So it's really impressive. And everything that happened over by the cars, the junk cars, was amazing, like you pointed out. If this is not our match of the year, in my opinion, it is the best finish that we saw in 1998, as far as just how it was booked. Because again, Patterson and Briscoe getting involved at the end, Undertaker putting them through the announce tables, just, again, the crowd just exploded. I had another out-of-body experience, again, seeing that. Just choke slamming the Stooges all the way to hell was just a great part of this finish. I think I said it when we covered it the first time. Pat Patterson was known for his booking of finishes, and this was definitely that on display.
He was known as some other things, too, like grabbing peckers in the locker room. But I couldn't agree more. What an absolute fantastic match. And Joe, as I stated, very first note, I can't get enough of the Dude Love music. It's just the moment it came, I'm tapping my foot, just like Dude Love at the beginning of his video there, because it's great. And then we see the cars as they come down the entryway. And going into this, I kind of forgot about the junkyard out in the entranceway or whatever. But the moment I saw it reminded me just how great those spots were going to be. I also completely forgot that The Undertaker had anything to do with this match.
Yeah.
Like, when they introduced him as the enforcer, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that did happen. Because he doesn't really play that big of a role in any of it, other than Mr. McMahon kind of looking over his shoulder every once in a while when he makes a questionable call. But what else can you ask for out of a pay-per-view main event than two of your biggest stars giving it their all? And that's exactly what we got. These two guys, they beat the shit out of each other. And Joe, you said you didn't think that their styles meshed all that well, or you said it worked, but you didn't think their styles meshed. But for some reason, I felt the hardcore brawler style of the two, it made for magic in this match. I don't know if it's just because Mankind has a way to put people over. There's a reason he's involved in both of our match of the year candidates this year, right? Another thing to look at in 98 is just the rise of Mick Foley's fandom.
Yeah.
And that's really a big thing of 98. And Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe getting choke slammed through separate announcer tables. Like, it wasn't the same one. One was through the American one. The other one was through the Spanish announcers table. That was fucking beautiful because the crowd was just ready to murder both of them, from Pat Patterson being his fucking dickhead on the mic and Briscoe refusing to ring bells. Everything about this match worked, and you both pointed out this finish. Like, someone could look at this finish and say it's cheap because he counted himself, but I thought it was absolutely perfect. Vince McMahon refusing to do the count, so Stone Cold forces a knocked out, unconscious, lifeless body of McMahon using his own hand to count it. Fantastic way to end it. Definitely, it deserved to be at least a candidate for Match of the Year, for sure.
Yeah, agreed. And so we're not going to belabor it because we only have 2 Match of the Year candidates. Let's move on to our second one. From the June 1998 King of the Ring, The Undertaker defeats Mankind by pinfall in 16 minutes in a Hell in a Cell match. For context, this was a little bit of a sleeper match because the main event was Kane versus Austin for the title in a First Blood match.
No one remembers that one.
Yeah, and to be clear, there was a great build-up to it.
Kane jobbed out just in 24 hours after this.
Yeah.
That gets mentioned later for me, too.
Yeah, Jobber of the Year, Kane.
As I said, there was a great build-up to this, and obviously The Undertaker and Mankind had a history prior to this match, but the focus at the time was still mainly on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I want to say that this pay-per-view was part of the origins of the Cahoots storyline. This didn't mention Cahoots specifically, but this built towards some of the deeper Cahoots that we all enjoyed so much.
Highlights of 98.
Also, for a little more context, this was only the second Hell in a Cell match ever booked, with JR calling it custom built for injury. Mankind came out first carrying a steel chair, aka the Brain Scrambler, threw the chair on top of the cage, climbed up to join it. JR made mention of The Undertaker being a changed man here in his Hellraiser garb, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Sweatpants debuted not long after this match.
It was certainly during the Cahoots storyline.
I want to say it was July or August of 98.
Perfect time to wear jogging pants.
Yep.
They should have named one of the In Your House Deeper Cahoots.
This got going with The Undertaker climbing up to meet Mankind on the top of the cage, both walking around carefully because the structural integrity was already compromised by all that beef on it. There had been only a handful of punches thrown by the time Mankind gets tossed off the top of the cage, inspiring the classic JR line, "With God as my witness, he is broken in half." The crowd was cheering for the sheer shocking spectacle they had witnessed, something that hadn't been done in widely available American wrestling up to this point. And speaking of an American wrestling icon, Terry Funk, he came out to lend a little bit of Japanese deathmatch flavor to this. The Funker came out to check on Mankind along with other officials and medics, and this became an image that you would have seen in the Japanese deathmatch tapes. Like, I really wish for you guys and our listeners I could show you side-by-sides of the crazy shit that Japanese death matches would do, and then you'd have... That's exactly right. You'd have officials running out, and there would be this whole dramatic scene where allies would come out to check on people, and medics.
And then Funk got chokeslammed out of his shoes.
We didn't get there yet. But also very Japanese. So this is also where the match came to a little bit of a standstill. They raised the cage to get the stretcher down to Mankind. The crowd got an Undertaker chant going, and part of me has always wondered if that is what first inspired Mankind to climb off the stretcher, because it's shortly after that chant that Mick climbs up from the cart, and with that sick smile, comes back down the ramp to meet the Undertaker climbing the ring. They met again up there, only exchanging 1 or 2 blows again before the Undertaker chokeslams Mankind through the cage, the Brain Scrambler following him down to both hit him in the face and break his fall, scrambling his brains. And once again, officials flood the ring. Mankind is there, semi-conscious. The Undertaker came back down into the ring to chokeslam Terry Funk out of his shoes, exploded just right off the ends of his feet.
It was like a movie, like they had explosions in there for them to fly off.
Mankind looked really dazed when The Undertaker was doing his rope walk, and we got the iconic view of Mankind smiling through the blood and broken tooth in his face. Mankind tried to lift up the ring stairs, but he couldn't get his arm to work that way, the one that he landed on. Taker tried to help Mankind by using the stairs to relocate Mankind's shoulder. Mankind got better after that, got woken up a little bit, more able to take part in the match. The crowd was oddly silent here up until Mankind went under the ring and came back with thumbtacks. The tension kept building as we went to rest holds, but the reversal out of the rest hold was a reversal right into the thumbtacks. JR yelling, "By God, he's rolling in the thumbtacks!" But that wasn't enough.
A human pincushion.
Mankind got put into the tacks again before Taker hit a tombstone to finally end this match. The stretcher made its second appearance, but Mankind wasn't having it. He wanted to go out on his feet to a standing ovation. And there you have it, folks. The legendary, often imitated but never duplicated, show-stealing Hell in a Cell. This match has been a recurring topic of discussion in the 25-plus years since it happened. It has staying power in a way that other wrestlers could only ever dream of. And it solidified Mick Foley as one of the top guys in the WWF, and the way that he sacrificed his body forever endeared him to wrestling fans after this. Ryan, please, what do you have on the Hell in a Cell match?
This isn't so much of a match as it is an experience.
Yeah.
There isn't really much we could really say about this match that someone hasn't already said, because as you mentioned, this match is talked about by pretty much everyone every year, every podcast. If there's a wrestling podcast out there, they have talked about this match in one way or another, because it is without a doubt one of the most memorable matches in wrestling history, and it deserves it. It is deserving of that spot. Outside of just the crazy shit that Mankind put his body through here, the amount of memorable quotes from JR. We've said many times how JR can make a match, and this match would have been in high regards regardless of JR, but as God is my witness, he has broken him in half. Enough is enough. Somebody stop the damn match. Hell, there's even a song written about this match using only JR quotes from the match called Hell is in Pittsburgh Tonight, because that's another great quote from him. Hell is in Pittsburgh tonight. Speaking of Pittsburgh, it holds a special place in my heart. I live in Pittsburgh. We went to the old igloo where this match took place to see Pantera live back in our youth. The building itself holds a lot. And then Mankind being right down the road, making history in that building. It's really hard for it to not be here on the Match of the Year candidates when it is literally top 3 memorable wrestling moments throughout anything. Any division, any federation, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows about the Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell match because someone, Mankind, Mick Foley, went out there and put his body on the line for the business and for the fans. And it's something me and many, many other people will never forget.
Yeah, we were maybe just old enough to remember Hogan slamming Andre. So 10 years, 11 years after that, this is our generation's version of Hogan slamming Andre. Like this was the moment that our generation of fans remembers. And it's Mick Foley had a lot of success in this business, just as an on-screen performer, as a writer. He wrote top-selling books too. He had a lot of success, but he is forever tied to
even with those scrambled brains.
He is forever tied to this match. Like this is his greatest moment. And like you said, it's easily top 3, at least 5 greatest moments ever in the company. So, I mean, it's an experience. It's hard to call it a match. There was a pinfall and a 1, 2, 3, but it's hard to call it a match. It's almost like you're watching, in a way, the fans, the way they gave this a standing ovation. It wasn't even like they were cheering for their favorite athlete who just won. It was almost like they were cheering like for an encore from their favorite musical artist, like almost like a theater crowd. like a theater crowd that just witnessed an amazing show. And it kind of has 3 acts to it. The first act is basically Mick Foley being a stuntman, jumping off the cell. And I still can't get over to this day how near perfect that fall was. I mean, there are people maybe a foot or less away from him where he landed. That could have been such a disaster.
In so many ways.
In so many ways. And it wasn't. So that's crazy. Ryan, you mentioned the connection to Pittsburgh. Now, do you guys remember, like, I'm sure, Ryan, you watched this live on the box
on
that
my cheater box,
came out of a Crown Vic. Bartlett, do you remember the first time you saw this match?
Yes, I think so. I'm not positive
Assuming
on
it was
that,
after.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I saw this on video, VHS.
I didn't watch this live, but my uncle Anthony, he knew someone who had one of those boxes that came out of the back of that Crown Vic.
Barry Dudinsky bought it off him.
He called me the next day and he asked me if I watched. He was a huge WCW fan, so he always referred to Mick Foley as Cactus Jack, no matter what his character was. So he's like, "Did you see that Cactus Jack match last night?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm going to come over this weekend." So he recorded it off the cheater box and brought it over. But the reason I bring that up is because when we dressed as wrestlers for Halloween, and Ryan, you were Mankind, I showed him the picture on my phone, and his first reaction was, "Oh my God, it's Cactus Jack." I was like, "It's yes, it is Cactus
Mankind.
Jack."
Yeah.
All these years later, still just calls him Cactus Jack. So yeah, that's a funny memory for me. But yeah, there's, like you said, Ryan, there's so many podcasts about it. Mick Foley was doing a traveling tour to talk about this match for a while. Yeah. So what more could be said? Yeah.
All right then, gentlemen, it falls on us to decide the match of the year. We've heard about both of our candidates. We've got Austin versus Dude Love at Over the Edge. We've got Undertaker versus Mankind at Hell in a Cell. And we're going to go with Ryan first. Who do you vote for? And why is that?
I thought long and hard about this because the Over the Edge match is criminally underrated. No one talks about that match between Stone Cold and Dude Love, and it's absolutely amazing. But I couldn't vote against Hell in the Cell, Undertaker, Mankind. It's an absolute spectacle. It's one of those where were you when this happened moments in wrestling history. Was it as good of wrestling as the Over the Edge match? Absolutely not. But as we've learned in professional wrestling, that doesn't really matter. Wrestling is not the focal point. People that have never watched a single minute of wrestling know of the Mankind Hell in the Cell match. And for that, it's one of the most iconic matches ever. I had to vote for it as my favorite.
It didn't win last year for us, but this will now be the second year in a row where I voted for a Hell in a Cell match as my match of the year. So last year was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. That was off the wall.
Bartlett
and this year's yeah. But that was
worst match of the year.
They recorded Off the Wall last year, and this year they recorded Thriller. So this was by far my match of the year.
Well, gentlemen, it's funny. We're coming at this from the same angles, but two different results. I'm going to have to be an 18%er here.
Well, I expected.
No, that's more like a 0.018%er.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, and
you're just being contrary for the fucking point of it.
No.
Should we say why, or can we just go to the next?
Well, you guys, obviously the Hell in the Cell match wins. It's a 2-1 vote. I'm not gonna argue that or complain about it. I'm just going to tell you just real quick why. For a lot of the reasons that you guys have said. First of all, because it is a criminally underrated match. Ryan, you put it best with that. And like both of you have mentioned, everybody out there has seen the 1998 Hell in a Cell, and it certainly, I can't take anything away from it. My God.
It sounds like you are. You're not voting for it.
But as you both...
However,
as you both have pointed out, everybody, including non-wrestling fans, have seen it. And one of the things that I try to keep as my, guiding light with the way that I nominate and vote is bringing matches to light for people that are wrestling fans that just might not have seen them for whatever reason. And the Hell in the Cell match is good enough that anybody of any stripe can enjoy it, which is a fine enough reason for both of you to vote for it. It deserves to be match of the year. I'm not arguing that one bit. But for those of our listeners out there that are wrestling fans and that may have missed the Over the Edge pay-per-view, I cannot say enough to go back and watch this. It's one of the most perfect matches we've ever watched. And I gotta say, match. If it wasn't up against the fucking King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, come on.
I think any other year it wins.
Right.
But you put it up against this, and Joe, like you said, it's like trying to vote a better match from 87 than Hulk Hogan, fucking Andre the Giant. Right. Good luck.
Well, this is why we brought it into the show, to bring it to light. Otherwise we would have just had the Hell in a Cell match as match of the year.
Right, but whenever the historians look back, because we all know that they're going to be looking back 60, 70, 100 years from now and researching this podcast as the definitive media on the genre.
And they're going to wonder how many times you got hit with the brain scrambler. You did say you had some beers tonight.
Well done.
No, it can't be overlooked. The Over the Edge match deserves so much more attention than it gets, and I just want to do my part to make sure it gets it. So,
well, it also features Cactus Jack, so they're those Cactus Jack matches.
It does. So that's it, folks. We have our official match of the year from June of 1998, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, The Undertaker defeating Mankind in a Hell in a Cell. I don't know that we can really top all of that, but I know we're going to, because the man, he takes his job seriously. I'm talking about the president of the Carpenters Union, Mr. Ryan Arrico, and he is here to present to us the Jobber of the Year.
Thank you, Bartlett. We had some great jobbers to pick from this year. Chains.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Barry Windham.
Oof.
Yikes.
The big fat piece of shit himself, Vader, for fuck's sakes. But I felt like there was no other choice but Mark Marrow.
Oh, yeah.
He was sable bombed straight out of the fucking WWF. He deserves Jobber of the Year like no one else. If anyone wants to go back and listen to that episode, it is the May 11th, 1998 episode. It is the episode where Mark Marrow gets sable bombed, because that is officially the end of his life and career. So, yes, Mark Marrow is our Jobber of the Year.
I see. It's got to be Kane. It's got to be Kane. But I will accept Mark Marrow.
Yeah. Yeah, not only after that first one, but remember, she basically kept power bombing him straight out of the building.
Oh, yeah. Kicking him in the balls and then power bombing him for months after.
I have to admit, it was really fun to watch all of that after hearing some of the wrestlers talk about it, like Austin and Pritchard and all those guys on podcasts. They've talked about it, and going back and watching all of it happen it was pretty hilarious.
I felt some humiliation for him as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, because there at the end of 1998, didn't we learn that Marrow ended up with a 3-year extension that he's mostly going to sit at home for?
Yes.
That is true. So he is a winner. He doesn't have to work, and he's going to collect a paycheck. Yeah.
He was one of the first, maybe the first guaranteed contract that came over from WCW and then cashed in on that 3-year extension.
Yeah, and however much money he got for those 3 years, you can't buy your balls back.
You can't. That's the thing. Like, you might have cashed in, but there's not a single wrestling fan out there that respects you. So give and take.
Not after they've been punted into the distance and just sailed off into the sunset, never to land.
It's good.
Well, thank you, sir. Respectable job as always. And Joseph, this is that time of year where we look back fondly, not just between ourselves, but Dave Meltzer also chips in on this. What do you have for us?
Yeah, this is the time of year where I really get my money's worth out of the Wrestling Observer subscription. And this is the Observer Awards for 1998, and this is the readers of the Observer who are basically swayed by Dave Meltzer all year on who they're going to vote for.
They're Dave Meltzer cock gobblers.
Yes, absolutely.
Stooges, if you will.
This year is not quite as fun as years past because we've had many laughs over some of these awards going to some WWF wrestlers. But as we said at the beginning of our show, the WWF has really turned a corner here. They are a hot product. So some of these awards are not quite as funny as they have been in years past. So we will start with the Wrestler of the Year award, and that was Stone Cold Steve Austin by a landslide.
That's
number one. Again, we focus mainly on the WWF guys here, so I wanted to point out that Mankind and The Rock also cracked the top 5 on that list.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Respectively, yeah.
This is also the first time that Austin has won this award, and something tells me it will not be the last. Steve Austin also won the award for Best Box Office Draw by an enormous landslide. 666 votes.
Oh.
The devil's number. Second place was Goldberg with 7 votes. That's how big of a landslide win that was. Feud of the year, I'm sure you can guess, that was Austin versus McMahon by another landslide.
Austin's cleaning house in these awards.
Steve Austin versus the Hart Foundation won this last year. Tag team of the year, guys, we have
Steve
had
Austin.
many laughs. Many laughs about this category for the past 3 years now, and there was never a WWF tag team even cracking the top 10 in this category. So I am proud to announce that Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg came in 3rd place this year.
Okay.
And they were the number 1 U.S. tag team because
so there were a couple
1 and
Japanese
2
ones.
were some Japanese tag teams that nobody cares about or has heard of.
Makes sense out of Dave Meltzer.
Most improved, number 1 was The Rock.
Yeah.
That's well-deserved.
Yeah.
I also have to mention that number 3 was D'Lo Brown.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome. Very awesome.
That's beautiful.
Best on interviews, that was Steve Austin at number 1.
There we go.
He has won this award 3 years in a row now. But I do have to say that Mick Foley was a close number 2 on that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
The most charismatic, number 1. Unfortunately, it was not Shawn Michaels. It was Steve Austin by a lot of votes. Second year in a row for Steve Austin in that one. Best technical wrestler. Again, we have shifted quite a bit in 1998, so nobody in the WWF cracked the top 10. The Bruiser Brody Award, this is my favorite announcement every year. Bruiser Brody Award for Best Brawler went to Mick Foley. He has won this award now 8 years in a row.
Deservingly.
Yes. Yeah. The most overrated. We've had some pretty good laughs about this in the past. Nobody in the WWF cracked the top 5.
Wow. Jeez.
Kane was number 7, the Jobber of the Year, most overrated.
Okay.
And Undertaker was number 8.
Yeah.
Bartlett,
a little iffy on
Mr.
Sweatpants.
Yeah, see?
I will say, this was a weak year outside of Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A weak year for The Undertaker.
The vocal minority has spoken up.
So pretty good results there for WWF and most overrated, but also not very good results for most underrated because nobody cracked the top 5 in the WWF as most underrated. Best weekly TV show, Raw was of course number 1, but I just wanted to point this out that Nitro is now down to number 5 So they are sliding.
Who the hell's beating them out on a weekly
Who are
basis?
the other weekly shows?
ECW is in there, and then you have a couple of Japanese shows, I believe. Of course. Match of the year. Of course, here at Wrasslin Raw, we picked the Hell in a Cell match. That was voted as number 2.
Oh.
Behind probably some Japanese match that nobody cares about.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only other WWF match was number 5, Steve Austin versus Dude Love. So we did a pretty good job of picking our match of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie of the year, I had to put this in here. Sable was voted number 5 in Rookie of the Year.
Why is she on the fucking list?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Bunch of horny voters there.
Yes. Best TV announcer, Jim Ross won this by a landslide. But I do have to point out, this is Jim Ross's first win in this category since 1993.
Wow.
Mike
that's
Tenay
surprising.
won last year, and Joey Styles won the previous 3 years.
Yeah, I think I remember that coming up before.
I think it's also worth pointing out that this was the first year that Jim Ross was the full-time announcer because we had to deal with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Worst TV announcer, Shane McMahon was voted as number 3.
Not Michael Cole.
Michael Cole only came in at number 6, so we'll see where he lands in 1999.
Morons out there.
The best wrestling maneuver, what a maneuver, the corporate elbow was voted as number 2, almost number 1. Most disgusting promotional tactic. So the top 5 went to the WWF last year. This year's a little different. Number 2 was the Austin McMahon hostage angle. I'm sure you guys remember that one.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty good.
Number 4, I disagree that this was disgusting. In fact, it was probably a glorious sight. Number 4 was WWF exposing Jacqueline's boobs.
The fuck?
I don't know who would think that's a disgusting promotional tactic.
What type of fucking pencil neck geeks are voting on that?
Yeah.
Oh no, titties, terrible.
The reader's personal favorite wrestler, Mick Foley, number 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
The reader's least favorite wrestler, again, we had nobody in the top 10 other than Jeff Jarrett at number 9. And I would also like to point out that Hulk Hogan won this award 5 years in a row now. Least favorite wrestler. All right, let's get to some worsts. The worst wrestler, number 4, Kurgan.
Yes.
Is he even a wrestler?
Number 5, a little disappointing. Mark Henry, number 5, worst wrestler.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't think that's deserving.
No.
Now this is funny here. Worst tag team. You have at number 1 Kurgan and Golga.
Oh Jesus! I don't even think of them as a tag team.
Yeah, they're nothing to us.
At number 2, LOD 2000.
Oh.
Yeah, they deserve it.
At number 3, DOA.
God, I forgot about them already.
Glad that they're not being focused on it all anymore. But yeah.
And this is what's funny because these guys won the number 3 best tag team. The number 4 worst tag team was the New Age Outlaws.
All right, so we got some divided fans out
voters.
We got some Billy Gunn fans and we got some Road Dogg haters voting.
Okay, worst match of the year. That was number 1 by far was Hogan versus Warrior at Halloween Havoc, but number 4 was the Oddities versus Kai and Tai on August 30th.
Yeah. I think that was when I gave Kai and Tai as a team Jobber of the Week.
It's very possible, yeah. Number 5 was Undertaker versus Kane on October 18th. So I believe that was after the Cahoots story. Worst feud of the year. Number 2 was LOD 2000 versus DOA.
Yep.
Worst on interviews. Val Venus was number 5 on this list. Previous 2 years, the winner was Ahmed Johnson. There's a name.
Yeah. Disappeared.
Yeah. Best Booker, Vince McMahon, number 1. This is the first time he's been number 1 in that category since 1987.
Oh, jeez.
Paul Heyman won the previous 4 years. Worst gimmick, number 1, the Oddities by a lot of votes.
Yes.
And the new Gold Dust won that last year. I don't know if you guys remember if people were not fans of the new Gold Dust last year. And that is all.
All right.
Nice. That was a nice list.
Yeah. Good to see plenty of WWF stuff in the mix there that have finally cracked the top 5. It feels like that was a pretty sparse list a lot of times previous years.
Well, they're finally on the best of side of the votes.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, all of the worst of stuff in the past. By God. Glad to see we're climbing out of that hole.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's look back and talk about our highlights and lowlights of the year. I'm going to start this off. My highlight of 1998, I had to go with the final push that took emerging talent into the stratosphere. And by that, I'm talking Austin, The Rock, McFoley, China, everybody I listed here, and many more all came together to launch the WWF to the next level. Vince McMahon as an in-ring personality, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for 1998, I firmly believe they would have never been able to go public and turn into the juggernaut that they became. Keep in mind that there was still a wrestling war going with WCW at this point, but 1998 made it clear who the winner was going to be in that wrestling war. In my low light of 1998, a lot to pick from. So many that, Joe, you mentioned a handful there in your worst awards that I completely forgot even existed, and for good reason, and I don't want to remember them ever again. But despite all of that, my lowlight of 98 had to be the final bookings of Owen Hart. Nugget, Blue Blazer. I know that we are looking back at this in hindsight. Nobody could have predicted what would end up happening. After the Hart Foundation, we just had this slow downhill slide in the interest of booking Owen Hart, throwing him into factions or stories that were only ever mid-card at best. And even when they were so underwhelming, just what a waste of talent. It really became almost painful for me to watch. These first few months of 1999 are going to be, I don't know. I'm very curious to see how it's going to pan out until we get to the 1999 Over the Edge. That's what I had. Ryan, what did you have for highlights and lowlights?
Yeah, so for me, I have a couple highlights and lowlights. First off, Austin becoming the cultural phenomenon that he does, including his feud with McMahon, of course. All of that taking WWF into a new level. The Rock becoming The Rock we all know and love. That all happened in 98. Mankind right here at the end of the year becoming a giant babyface, having one of the most memorable matches ever, the Hell in the Cell. Lowlights, I'm going to start it off with the fucking Brawl for All.
Bro, this is a Brawl for All. This is a shoot, not wrestling. Bro, it's boom, 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 boom. Just look at it logically. Does it make any sense?
Forgot about it.
Yeah. Hawk and his addiction and murder angle. Lowlight. Here's one I think you guys maybe both forgot about because I heard no mention of it. The NWA Invasion storyline.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Brother.
Absolutely pathetic.
God.
But my biggest lowlight of 1998, though, is Kane becoming the Big Red Jobber.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, my highlights, obviously the two matches we talked about earlier in the show. We had a full year of Mr. McMahon, which was fantastic. The Austin era began with Mike Tyson and defeating Shawn Michaels. Even earlier in the year, the Three Faces of Foley in the Royal Rumble. I thought that was amazing. Yeah. X-Pac returned and had some amazing matches and showed why he was the measuring stick for The Office on who stays and who goes.
Good call there.
Can't forget about Sable's body paint bikini. That was a highlight for sure.
Definitely memorable.
And more recent, later in the year, of course, the rise of The Rock later in the year. And Ryan, I need you to get a couple of sounds ready for me.
Oh.
The first one is going to be, she was a-moanin and a-groanin and a-screamin.
She was a-moanin and a-groanin and a-screamin.
And the second one, of course, huge highlight of the year, Bedpan McMahon. Just beautiful. And lowlights, I got oddities and DOA, of course, for sure, are just the worst.
Default.
Yeah. And I often wonder what would have happened if Bret Hart stayed in the WWF, or what would have happened if Shawn Michaels didn't get injured and was still wrestling. It's just huge what ifs. I consider the Shawn Michaels injury to be a low light as well.
Well, because, you wonder, would Stone Cold have become Stone Cold if both of those things didn't happen?
And even more so, The Rock.
Yeah, and The Rock, both of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been a hell of a year, 1998. And it's funny because, like, you guys mentioned a whole bunch of great stuff that was part of it, some of the terrible stuff that I don't even remember. And I think it bears repeating that the pace of 1998 was wild. Ryan, you mentioned the NWA invasion angle. So back
at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, back at the time of the Over the Edge pay-per-view, where one of our Match of the Year candidates came from, that was the earlier of the two in the year. There you'll find Jeff Jarrett in his original country garb coming out with Tennessee Lee.
Nice.
Tennessee Lee. I forgot to put him as a highlight.
Yeah.
And then the NWA thing, and just Dan Severn, Jim Cornette, just if you look at just Jeff Jarrett by himself, the amount of different changes he's gone through to try to become interesting in 1998. Yeah. It's wild.
He's like a perfect picture of the turmoil of 98 and changing of 98.
It shows, thankfully, how short-lived some of this stuff was. The NWA angle and things like that.
Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob.
Oh, man.
Oof.
And I just honorable mention to Bart Gunn murdering people left and right.
Yes.
Mostly left, but sometimes
deadly.
Right.
Yeah. He's a southpaw.
All right. Let's move on then to finally what we are looking forward to in 1999, and I'm going to take this first. Two big things for me, and I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, not just from what I mentioned before with my highlights and lowlights, but also from our 1997 year in review. The way that I think about this and the way that I'm looking at this is whenever you have sports teams that are going through a rebuild, something major happens, you've got a lot of retirements, you've got a change up in management, whatever, and then a rebuild happens. And it takes a couple years before that team gets back to the playoffs again. And I feel like this was the final culminating effort of a rebuild. And it started in 97.
The new generation, if you will.
It started in 97. It continued through and solidified in 98. And now 1999 is going to be nothing but money for so many people. First is going to be the rise of The Rock. I know he's been there and he's been on the rise, but like I said, this is a rebuilding franchise, if you will. And up to this point, he hasn't really had much of a cohesive story, at least not until the corporate champion angle. He did have some really neat stuff with Farouk and the Nation of Domination, but that kind of puttered out. He had some great matches with Ken Shamrock, but that just helped build him in his status to the point where at the end of 1998, he's the champion now.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to have that, and we're going to have some of the best matches of all time come because of that in 1999. We're going to have his biggest Austin feud yet. And again, they have already met. They've already had little stories together. But we're going to get even more of that and even better of that. And then as well as The Rock's rebellion against the corporation and just his breakout as a truly single star with no faction surrounding him, the guy at the top of the card, along with Austin. The other thing is going to be the inclusion of more divas. And this, again, I said this back in 1997, and it was true. We started to get the inclusion of Luna, Deborah, Jackie, Terry here in 1998, as well as more physicality from China, and even the introduction of Sable Stalker towards the end of the year. But in 1999, we're going to get the actual coining of the phrase divas, as well as the divas division. We'll get Ivory, we'll get Miss Kitty, we'll get Lita, we'll get Trish Stratus.
Damn. Yeah.
And others to really take the women's division to a whole new level, something that has been sorely lacking since Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano had a match of the year candidate back in 1993. So that's what I've got. Joe, why don't you go next, please?
Well, obviously there's going to be some big names coming in like Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, The Big Show, Stephanie McMahon. We got a full year of Mr. McMahon this year in 98, and we saw towards the end the formation of the corporation, and I think the corporation is going to do even better things in 1999. So definitely something to look forward to there as far as storylines. And I have to say, the thing I'm probably looking forward to the most is going back to my list from The Observer, my awards that I announced here. The top 4 worst tag teams were part of the WWF.
Yeah.
And in 1999, on a more regular basis, we're going to see the Hardys.
Yeah.
We are going to see the Dudley Boys make their WWF debut, and we're probably going to see Edge and Christian be more of the Edge and Christian that we're familiar with. So huge boost for the tag teams that have just been an absolute joke for the past several years.
Yeah. In 99, I'm looking forward to the Rock and Mankind feud. It's going to be pretty amazing right from the start of 99. I'm not going to spoil anything, but next week's episode is going to be one of the starting things of that. We're then going to get the I Quit match between them two, which is iconic. Yeah. The Super Bowl halftime match between them two, that's in January, I believe, at the end of January. So we got some really great stuff coming from them. Of course, the Rock Stone Cold feud after the Mankind one. That is going to be something that really takes hold in 99. And an offshoot of that is just The Rock and his rocket ship rise to his career. This is when he's really going to become a household name. We're going to get an additional weekly show named after one of his catchphrases, SmackDown. That's going to start in 99. Yeah. Joe, you mentioned the uptick in the tag division. That's something we've been asking for years, and we're finally going to get it. My biggest thing that I'm looking forward to, unfortunately, isn't till towards the end of 99, but is Kurt motherfucking Angle's debut. Yeah. I am really, really looking forward to Kurt Angle.
Yeah, good call all around, both of you. We've talked at length about the power of 1998 and just everything that goes on and these iconic moments, and it's all true. But like I said before, 1999 is going to be nothing but money from start to finish for everybody involved. And it's the culmination of the work that they've been putting in.
That's exactly it. 98 built it all up. Yep. 99 is going to ride on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just going to be every single week is going to be a great show.
Yes. All right. What better way than to end the episode on that note? Because this closes out 1999. It's been, or 1998, excuse me, as we go into 1999. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. We've finally gotten to that point after years of trudging through bullshit. I feel like much like the WWF, we're finally able to kick our feet up and coast a little bit and actually enjoy what we've been working towards in 1999.
We finally don't have to go, well, this match is Ahmed Johnson, or we've got to deal with the Repo Man here, or none of that. Yeah, we are coasting into some great shit now.
Yeah, instead of the Repo Man, we're going to be saying the same thing about Beaver Cleavage.
That's a little down the road. That's 2001.
It's funny, though, that this era recycled some of that, too, because, like, we have the Big Boss Man back, but, like, he's not cartoony. He's
a revised Big Boss Man. Though in 99, we are going to get, what is it, the dog kennel match?
Dog kennel match, yeah.
Yeah. So not everything's great.
Well, Vince Russo is there until the end of the year. So, yeah, we're still going to get some weird shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking forward to the stratospheric rise of Val Venus. Yeah. I am being very sarcastic in saying that.
Surely. Is it 99 or is it 2000 when he ends up joining the censorship or censor?
Yeah, the right to censor.
Later,
right to censor, that's it. I think that's 2000, not 99.
Yeah, I think that's 2000. He'll be there with the Good Father, with Ivory, and with the guy that played Sniper.
Oh, God.
Wasn't Stevie Richards?
Sniper. Yeah, Stevie Richards was in that too. Yep. Yeah. Stevie Richards was the ringleader, and I forget what the fuck. But was it not Bull Buchanan? That's not what they were calling the guy. Some name like that, though. I forget exactly what it was. But yeah, Sniper.
There's a really great story from Stevie Richards out there talking about how the Godfather blamed the entire censorship or right to censor thing on him. Apparently, the Godfather treated him like absolute shit, like in the locker room, because like he felt he was the driving force behind it or something. And Stevie Richards was just like, this is what I was told to do. I don't know why he took it out on me, but
I believe, the same percentage that Bartlett was tonight when he selected his match of the year. What was it, like 0.018%?
0.001, yeah.
That's how much I believe Stevie Richards. He's always full of shit and looking for clicks. 0.018% of me believes Stevie Richards.
I will say, though, there is a response video from The Godfather who says that it was kind of true. No, that it was kind of true. Though he does say, like, he's like, well, I wasn't necessarily pissed off at him. I was just pissed off at the whole situation, and I kind of took it out on him, and he apologized for it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go ahead and just talk out my ass here and say that I've always thought Stevie Richards was an asshole. But I have plenty of good memories of watching him in matches. He's a phenomenal wrestler. I've always been a fan of his ring work.
He was entertaining to watch in the ring, despite his rather thin physique for a wrestler.
Yeah. Well, he rocked it with the the Daisy Dukes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He knew his gimmick.
Yes. Yeah, he did. He was great at it. Well, guys, it's been great looking back at 1998 with you. Looking forward to 1998 with you also, and with you, all of our listeners. That's it, folks. We are done with 1998, and I want to thank you again for joining us. If you like what we're doing here and want to connect with us, you can email us at WRASSLINRAW, just at gmail.com to the end of that to submit questions or comments. Check us out now on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and on every podcast subscription platform. While you're there, don't forget to follow and subscribe to keep us going. Next time on Wrasslin Raw, we're going to be taking a look at the Raw that aired on January 4th, 1999, with matches featuring Pat Patterson, Mankind, and many more. So, for Joe and Ryan, I'm Jason, and this has been 1998.